Okay gang, today I'm here with my daughter and we're going to aquascape this little fluval speck using some really cool premium tools from Aquavitro. I'm going to tell you about these tools, I'm going to show you how they work, I'm going to show her how they work in just a second. Hey YouTube, this is Pecktec, and today we're going to unbox some of these really awesome premium tools from Aquavitro. And I'm going to sort of explain how they work to Kerrigan here and you, and we're going to use them to aquascape this little tiny speck. Alright, so you've aquascaped this speck a couple of times, right?
Yeah, I have. Not successful attempts, but I've tried.
Well, they actually weren't bad. They weren't bad escapes, but what happened on your last one?
Well, I got duckweed in my tank, and it went everywhere.
Yeah, eventually it was so overgrown with duckweed, it was better just to start over.
Yeah.
And what a great way to show you how these tools work, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so we've got this tank to aquascape. What do we need first?
Well, I think we need some more plants.
Yeah, we saved some of the plants that were in our tank before, but we could probably use a few more. And what a great way to show you how these work. These are called curved spring shears. And the spring is because there's a little, they spring back, so they don't get stuck closed. A lot of times when you use scissors, when you cut something with scissors, sometimes they get stuck closed. And that's kind of a pain.
Only we had some curved scissors to do this.
If only we had some curved scissors to open this package with. Oh wow. These are neat. They're really, really light. And you can see they have this sort of springing action here. So when you're cutting stuff, sometimes like you'll cut a plant or something. It looks like I'm going to cut my finger off. Sometimes when you cut a plant or something, they'll get stuck shut because the plant sort of wedges them together. This helps these to come apart. It makes them a little easier to handle with one hand, so you can pinch and cut things.
So that'd be good for cutting some finer plants too.
Yeah, and the curved part, the important part here too, is that they're curved. Now what's great about the curved shears is they enable you to cut the plant without having to get all the way down. You can sort of come at it from an angle, and that's really handy in small nano tanks and stuff like that. You don't have to get all the way flat to cut it straight across. You can sort of come at it at sort of a 45-degree angle. I guess it's about a 45-degree angle, and slice. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these to trim a little bit of Monte Carlo, my favorite carpeting plant. We're going to trim a little bit of that out of this other speck where it's just way overgrown, and we'll have it to add. So let's do that now. Alright, so did you see how easy that was? It's kind of like mowing a lawn.
You don't mow a lawn with scissors.
Moving on. We've got another set of scissors here. This is the curved shears. Now this is great for maybe the bigger plants, especially. But we're not going to put any big plants in here. Alright, we'll take the little tip off. These are really nicely made, by the way. You can really, I mean, I have some cheap ones, and the quality of this it's noticeably different. And I don't normally say that because I'm a cheapskate, but these are great. These are great shears. These are also curved, so they work in a lot of, they have the same advantages that the other curved ones do, in that you don't have to get all the way down flat. You can kind of come at it from an angle and trim. And we're going to use this to trim out some other plants. See, but these are not only good for really big plants because it's a bigger pair of scissors, but it's also good for cutting wide things. Like if you had, let's say, a big chunk of moss and you wanted to just kind of cut it right down through the middle, this would be a lot easier to do the whole chunk of moss than, say, these small scissors. So those are just a couple of ways you can use the scissors. So now it's time to put some substrate into the aquarium, okay? So we're going to use the soil spade to sort of even it out. And what this does, this is kind of like,
Godzilla method, always the most effective.
I just can't get over how neat these are. I mean, they're really, really nicely made. This is really nice. Now, I've had this cheap one for a long time, and boy, you can really see the difference in it. This is nice and thin. It's got a nice grading to it. This one's like really thick and sort of cumbersome and heavy. So it's a nice weight. So I'm gonna give this to you, and we're gonna get some substrate out and start aquascaping this thing. Okay, so I still have some of this aqua soil left. I've used this about 1,000 times.
Don't you need to rinse it?
It's good to go. We don't need to rinse this. And I'll make a mess so you have something to do.
Oh, sweet.
Tools like this are a lot more important in a bigger aquarium, but that wouldn't be practical for this video, so we're gonna just aquascape this small one.
So what I like to do personally whenever I'm aquascaping is first I get it all leveled out, and then I push some of it towards the back to make an appearance of depth in a tank. So it looks bigger than a 2-gallon tank, but I still make sure that it's a little bit thicker than when I have it. So I need to push some of it back or put more in.
You want a little bit more?
A little bit more in so the plants have enough room to root. That way the plants have plenty of room to put in some solid rootage.
You'll have some hardscape and stuff too that you'll want to kind of place.
In fact,
Now you'll notice this has another side,
yeah.
this small side, and this small side here. This small side is good for, you know, those little tight areas. So once we get your rock in there, in fact, let's go ahead and place your rock. You want to add this other rock too?
Yes, so I'm going to add a little bit of that to the top here.
All right, this is just kind of plain gravel. It's got a little bit more interesting color than the aqua soil.
And I'm going to mix these two together a little bit so I can still see a little bit of the aqua soil as well as the more plain gravel. Switch to my other side here. Push that back in there. Give that rock some support. Alright, that's looking pretty good right now.
I think we're about ready to put some plants in there. Are you ready?
I think I was born ready, Dad.
Great. Grab our little container of plants. At this point in the aquascape, we're going to add a little bit of water to make it a little bit easier to plant and make sure the plants stay moist. So what we'll do is we'll just we're going to put it in the back here. There's a little tiny hole in the speck, and what it will do is it'll pour over without making too big a mess.
Makes me have to pee, Dad.
Me too. Alright, I'm going to cut it off there. Alright, so our next tool is the wide grasp forceps. Now, these are much like the little pincher tool that we'll get to here next, the other forceps, except that they have a wider grip. And we're going to be planting some carpeting plants that maybe need a little bit wider grasp. It's hard to grab these things individually with like a really thin wedge. So we're going to grab it with this. Also, you'll notice it's hollow in the middle.
And it has those ribs too.
Yeah, those ribs kind of grab things. But this hollow part in the middle makes it so that the gravel can pass through. So when you put it in there, the gravel will bury it. And it won't just kind of like push the gravel aside and then just float right back up. Or will it? There's only one way to know for sure. I'm going to get this first part set up and then you can put it in there, okay? So what I'm going to do, we've got some Monte Carlo here. And I'm going to get a nice bunch of it and get it all pointed the right way. Alright, see how I've got the Monte Carlo, and I'm just going to kind of use this wide angle grasp so that, and this way you can plant it without like just having a small bunch. You can plant them in like these little rows. So why don't you give it a try?
Trust me, I was raised to do this. I think I'm going to start it.
Why don't you start it towards the middle?
Yeah.
So it'll get lots of light. Just kind of bury it as much as you can, and then you let go of the forceps and bring it up gently. Very good.
Ooh, it's in there.
It's in there. All right, that's looking really good. I think you're about done with those. All we've got left are a bunch of little small individuals, and we've got these other plants too. You're going to probably put them behind this rock here so they can kind of grow up and be a little bit taller in the background. So we're going to use our last set of tools, or last tool.
Forceps.
Curved fine tip forceps.
Nice.
Perfect for every girl for Christmas. All right, my hands are now so slick I can't open it. You did that.
I'll do the honors.
Now these forceps, much like the scissors, have a little bit of a curve to them, and this you can approach something this way if you want to plant in that way, or if you need to get around a corner like a rock or something, you can use these to sort of reach around a corner and plant. These are really handy. It feels like they've got a really nice grip to them. Ah! Alright, so what I do with these is I just kind of lay the plant down across there, and I grab a hold of it this way, and then you can just jam it into the substrate. So place that. Very good. Alright, and you gently release, so it lets the rocks kind of flow back on there and hold the plant down. And we've got a few more. What? I thought these might not even be the same plant. These are some plants out of your tank. Or this tank before. We've got a little bit of moss too.
Might look good. Oh, right there.
Well,
But it does grow up.
This
though.
is flame moss, and it goes straight up. So, it might be better maybe in this back corner there or something. There you go. So let's do this here. Hold on a second.
It's slippery.
All right. So moss is a lot like the roots and stuff. We're gonna just lay it out flat. Okay. In fact, I'm gonna kind of double this up a little bit. Oh, it's got this other plant in there. That's fine. You're gonna get kind of a little wad of it in your hand, right? I'm gonna lay these things right along the top of it, and that way you can just place it right in there.
Take two.
And do it as far in that corner as you can. Just shove it way down in there. There you go. Now gently release the forceps, and it should. Let the rocks go next to it. There you go.
Maybe push those back down a little bit.
Yeah. Cheat those rocks back where they go. Looks like that plant came up too, the Monte Carlo. Might just jam it back into the ground too. This is great for single stem plants and getting around corners and that sort of thing. Alright, all we've got left to do is fill this thing up with water, and you're pretty much aquascaped. You did a great job! High five.
Job well done. All in a day's work.
Now I'm shooting this a few days ahead of time so you can look at the final product in the end credits, okay? This is really a video just to kind of describe how these tools work, tell you what great quality they are, but where do you get them, okay? That's the last thing I have to talk about. These tools are only available through certain retailers, and they're easy to find. I'm going to put a link in the description that's got a little store finder where you can find where these products are sold. They don't just sell these tools, which are also, these tools are great for saltwater, and there's all kinds of practical uses for this with saltwater tanks. The Aquavitro line also has a whole line of fertilizers and other things like that that are available. They're really super high quality versions of the cheap things that we see all the time. But all of these tools are very well made, very beautiful, just very sturdy and interesting. I like it. I've never seen this. I've never even seen a cheap version of these, and these are really fascinating. Not only for grabbing wide plants and stuff like that, but you can pick up and grasp like bigger objects. Like, didn't you have some eggs or something you wanted to put in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you grab some of those? She has these glass eggs, which I think are kind of neat. Did you want to put a couple of those in there?
Yeah.
So you can grab them with these things. Look at that. There you go.
I'd probably place that around there so I can hold down this plant as well.
Yeah.
And then maybe place nice.
And that's something you'd never be able to do even with these other kinds of forceps, you know. That's a really great little idea for some pinchers. Forceps. Pincherceps.
Pinceps.
Pinceps. Okay, folks, I think that's all we got for you today. But until next time, follow your bliss.
Pick up some Aquavitro tools.
And keep a clean tank. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Check out some. Take 2.
On the end credits, you can look at the final product after it's settled up there.
You don't understand that, Papa?
There's just a little bit of water in. Oh. Whoops.
Why'd you take off the lid?
I don't know. Oh my god.
Get you a towel?
Yeah, give me a towel.
I hate it's all on camera.
I know. Well, we're good bloopers. Oh my gosh, I'm soaking wet.
You signed up for this when you joined the aquarium hobby.
But what's next?
Well, we gotta put the soil in the tank.
Hint.
What's next? I'm like, soil!